Right, so what's an extrovert to do if they're in the market for a crossover SUV, but they've got a limited budget? Now, what we have here is the Changan CS75 Plus, and by the looks of it, it seems out there to dominate the crossover SUV market on looks alone, but I gotta tell you, how does it drive? What's going on, guys? Roy Robles here from Zigwheels.Ph, and yes, today we'll be looking at the Changan CS75 Plus, the extroverted crossover SUV. Now, the design engineers at Changan must have had quite a day when they were first designing the Changan CS75 Plus. Maybe they were asked, what type of design elements would you like in your crossover SUV? And the guy in charge must have had said, yes. So first off, let's start off with these sweeping full LED headlamps that pretty much flank these huge, aggressive honeycomb grille that kind of mimics a lot of the more popular SUVs out there. And they just slapped it on right here. Gives it a great look. I love the red strips right here on the side, but more on that later as we walk around the entire body of the CS75 Plus. And I'm just glad that this car doesn't have one of those fake skid plates at the bottom. Instead, you've got this black lip here. A little bit of design continuity for the Changan CS75 Plus is this chrome strip right here just below the hood that kind of acts as continuity for the DRLs on the headlamps. Overall, it's a sporty and quite aggressive appearance up front, which is quite refreshing in this segment of the crossover SUVs. Now, more lines, curves, and angles can be seen on the side profile of the Changan CS75 Plus. And as you can see, it still has that red strip down below. Remember when I told you up front you'd see more of that? That ain't the end of it, guys. Now, you've got more of that carbon fiber trim on the side with an S badge right there, and you've got this black side mirrors. It's difficult to find contrast on a gray car, but adding those black trims there, I think it's really interesting. Now, if you notice that multi-spoke alloy wheels there, they're actually 18 inches, but with the overall size of this car, 18 inches actually look pretty small. This car actually, this Changan CS75 Plus, is the biggest in its class. It's bigger than most crossovers out there. Dimension-wise, it's actually wider than most popular mid-sized SUVs. Now, in the back right here, you notice a floating roof design that's pretty common in some crossover SUVs, but this time around, the kink is found at the bottom of the D-pillar, which is an interesting design feature overall. Now, the side profile right here is pretty much my cup of tea when it comes to design, but if you're not a fan of red, you might want to skip this one. But check this out, it's nice. Now, heading over to the back, wow. These tail lamps, these LED tail lamps with this strange design overall to it, it kind of looks like a snake slithering up through the middle of the car. It's just something else. Probably other cars would want to be behind you on the road, even though they can go ahead and overtake you, just to get mesmerized over this design. And that's what I appreciate about these cars, these new cars from these new brands. They really want to overemphasize their design prowess, and this one right here, it's a winner in my book. Check the rear spoiler here as well. It sticks out a little bit more than other brands would probably want it to be, but this time here it's decked in this carbon fiber design as well as this split third brake lamp up top. It's another interesting feature that really grabs your attention more, and you'd probably say, I've never seen that in any other car, but you have that in the CS75 Plus. Of course, you got your dual exhaust. These are real dual exhausts. Lifting the tailgate of this 5-seater SUV with this long wheelbase gives you a lot of space in the back. 620 liters of space with the seats upright, and if you need even more space, the second row seats actually fold really flat, giving you 1,450 liters of extra cargo space. Who says you can't have pickup truck-like qualities on a crossover SUV? The Changan CS75 Plus proves you wrong. All right, so as you might have had gotten a peek from the tailgate on the inside, the interior of the Changan CS75 Plus is all red, and well, mostly red in its amenities. First of all, the seats are made of leather and wrapped in this red material, which I really like. So apparently, the interior design of the Changan CS75 matches the exterior when it comes to its gaudiness and being an extrovert and all that. So first of all, you got the steering wheel right here. It's nice and D-shaped. It's one of those larger diameter steering wheels, and the grip here is awfully thin for my taste. It's not one of those chunky boys, but it's all right. It's definitely comfortable to hold. And you've got this huge 12-inch touchscreen infotainment system. It does not have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but you do have screen mirroring, so you've got that, so that you can integrate your phone into the car. And next to the 12-inch infotainment screen is a 7-inch screen for your gauges. You can definitely change the view of it. You can see your intelligent scene, your general information, multimedia, themes, and all that. Everything you need to know about your drive, you can find it right there. Of course, you've got your button right here. It's a dial for your drive modes. It's going to change your drive mode from sport to eco to normal, and the entire theme of the twin screens change. On the left side of the gauges, you've got touch panels here for your traction control, for your hill descent control as well as a headlamp leveler control, which is all touchscreen. So for the AC controls, they're also touchscreen, but thankfully they have this haptic feedback to it, so you know that whenever you're pressing them or not. It's awfully strong, so as you can see, you won't be mistaking it for any other button because, you know, they have haptic feedback. All right, the dash is nicely designed, although they have some sort of angular look to them. They're more of like pointing towards the driver and the front passenger there. It's more angular and more layered, but they are nicely made of soft touch material all in all, except of course the middle of the dash that houses the AC vents. Also, we got this nice center console here. In it, you've got your shifter, you've got of course that drive mode selector, and this electronic parking brake, your automatic brake hold. You have your 360-degree camera here. It's not the highest definition camera out there, but it definitely works, and it's better than having nothing. So if you're thinking about bringing in cold drinks or trying to keep your devices warm, you got your split opening center armrest, and you got a console inside. And yes, it is refrigerated, for lack of a better term. It's pretty cold in there. So if you want to put your drinks, make sure that your drinks aren't open, because if you, there's going to be an accident inside there. But if you want to keep them cool, just put them in there, no problems. But enough of this, let's go and check out the second row seats and see how it works. So in the rear, more of that red theme follows through. And if you're wondering if you can get this in any other color, unfortunately not. This is the only color that you're going to get, but I can definitely live with that. The one thing about the rear is that you got a lot of space here. You definitely got a lot of knee room, room for your feet, and nice. You can even definitely just lounge back here. You can definitely fold the seats back, so you can have that recline them. There we go. That's perfect. You also have a center armrest. Fortunately, it does not have any cup holders, but you do get rear AC vents and a USB port down there. The floor down here is awfully flat, which definitely helps with your overall comfort. And this nice panoramic sunroof is a great show. And you still have dome lights in the back. It doesn't, unlike other cars that have the sunroof but no lights, but you get them right here. Check them out. Whoa, it's quite a show. Imagine going on long road trips at night. Just enjoy the stars in the rear here and you'll be fine. Speaking of road trips, let's take this out for a test drive and see how it goes. All right, so behind the wheel of the Changan CS75 Plus, right away you would realize how expansive the entire cockpit is. It really actually just envelops you, this red and this brushed aluminum look. Gives you a more premium feel when you drive. It actually also has nice visibility all around, thanks to the high greenhouse there. And even in the front, you've got the hood is pretty much bulged up. It has a slight power bulge to it, so you have a great perspective of where the car is relative to the road. So you've got that going. It's good feeling inside. Also, it's easy to get the best driving position because of the power adjustable seats, as well as a steering wheel that's adjustable for both reach and brake. All right, so under the hood you have a 1.5 liter turbocharged direct injection engine. It makes 178 horsepower and 265 newton meters of torque. That is mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission. None of that dual clutch or CVT. This is a regular good old 6-speed automatic that, according to my research, is actually sourced from ASIN. So if you're familiar with the brand and are familiar with the reliability behind that brand, that's something to think about. power delivery is ample, and I gotta say, there's a sense of solidness to the entire drive. Although, of course, once you get to the upper ranges of the rev range there, it gets kind of noisy, and noise does permeate in the inside. But overall, the NVH levels is good. We're passing through this road with a lot of motorcycles and tricycles around, but I can barely hear them. But if you need power, it's certainly there. I think it has something to do with the 6-speed automatic transmission. These days, with crossovers having 1.5 liter turbocharged engines mated to usually a dual clutch transmission or a CVT, the power delivery is certainly different. Here it's more apparent. Here it's more definitely there when you need it. As soon as you hit the accelerator pedal, there's barely any lag there of sorts. I know this is still runs on drive-by-wire technology, but there's something about being a little bit more old school with 6-speed automatics that I kind of like. So the entire time I've been driving on sport mode because there's no other way for me than sport mode. I want that power now. But there are 3 drive modes here, and I want to go ahead and discuss that. So first of all, you've got your eco mode. So that sets the theme here inside the car blue. So what eco mode does is that it sets the parameters of your drive to save fuel. So for example, the throttle response is reduced. So I'm stepping on the throttle right now. See, it's smoother. It doesn't gather all the torques or the horsepower you need right away, but you're gonna get there, right? It doesn't put the power down. It just changes the way the throttle response reacts and the steering reacts. So the steering is lighter, by the way. It's definitely lighter this time around. This is perfect for cruising down the highway if you're running in cruising speeds, and you definitely don't need a lot of power there because you have forward momentum on your side. So yeah, eco mode is good. Also in traffic as well, you could use that. There's also normal mode. Normal mode is the default mode that you have in this car, so it's a step between eco and sport. So that's definitely something that you can expect out of that mode. But I'd really rather put it on sport mode. Sport mode is my preferred mode here because it brings out every ounce of responsiveness. Steering wheel definitely is much weighted this time around. And yeah, that's how I like it. By the way, the steering response, you can also change it. No matter what mode you're in, you can actually change the parameters behind that as well. All you have to do is dig through the menu settings right here, and you can find the steering weight change there. The Changan CS75 Plus, suspension-wise, runs on McPherson struts up front and a rear torsion bar back there. Now, the springs and the suspension here is set up more for comfort. It gives you a more floaty ride overall. It's not hard, but what that does is that it creates a lot of body roll, which might not be ideal for aggressive driving or whenever you're trying to go through a couple canyons or carve through them like this. It's going to be quite an experience for your passengers. They're gonna feel like you're driving like a madman, even though you're not. So that's what it does. Maneuverability is okay. Maneuverability is okay for this car. If you go through potholes, if you go through roads that aren't really paved that well, you're barely going to feel any of that inside. And thanks to those springs, thanks to the suspension setup, it's going to be quite comfortable inside. Fuel economy in the Changan CS75 Plus is surprisingly good. In city driving, you get around 8 to 9 kilometers per liter. And once you open this up in the highway, you can get about 14 to 15 kilometers per liter. All right, the list of safety features in the Changan CS75 Plus is pretty comprehensive. So you got your standard ABS with the electronic brake force distribution, ISOFIX anchors of course, 6 airbags, and you also have hill hold control, which actually keeps your car still, or keeps the brakes up for about 2 seconds when you're going uphill, so it's easier for the transmission to work. And hill descent control as well, which you usually find on off-road vehicles, but this is not an off-road vehicle, guys. This just helps you out with crawling in a downhill right there. Now, one thing this thing also has is it got a 360-degree camera setup with rear parking sensors and tire pressuring monitor systems. Pricing for the lone variant of the Changan CS75 Plus starts at 1,379,000 pesos. Now at 1,379,000 pesos, you could start to think, with the size of this car, rivaling those of some mid-sized SUVs and actually dwarfing those of crossover SUVs, you start to think, what particular model are you in the market for? What is this car actually targeting? It's actually trying to usurp those mid-sized SUVs and giving you more options out there. The only thing that I see some people probably having hesitations getting this one is the look, right? It's not going to be everyone's choice or everyone's cup of tea, but with how it looks outside, especially inside, I don't think a lot of people will find this as their first choice. But for me, I'm probably the target market of this crossover SUV because I like being different. And if you like being different as well and experiencing the particular type of luxury or premium amenities that you usually find on more expensive models, I think the Changan CS75 Plus is something worth checking out. So there you have it, folks, the Changan CS75 Plus. Surprisingly, it's an amazing drive, which I did not expect given its exterior and interior looks. But what do you think? Do you think you're going to be in the market for a CS75 Plus? Drop us a comment in the comment section down below. And while you're at it, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification icon so you will never miss any of our videos. So before we go, we'd like to give a quick shout out to our friends at Formula G Car Wash and Pak'N Wings Chicken and Beer. Thanks so much for watching, guys. This is Roy Robles from Zigwheels.Ph, and I'll see you guys next time.